Hi there. So let me just go over a few changes I made, how I got things kind of starting to work here, and then um, what you would need to do to continue forward from here and have things work. I think like you want them to work um, in Hugo. So the way the content directory works and kind of what Hugo is expecting is that folders within the content directory represent a section, kind of a type or a section of the website that would have a typically like a page for that section. So like the about section landing page, and then you could go forward from there and have other pages in the section, which would be essentially like leaves of this node. So this is how what Hugo is expecting, and to represent the content for the section page for the about, you start that with an underscore. These are kind of like list pages. You can go into the Hugo documentation and look at the content organization and what they expect. But if you append or prepend, I should say, an underscore to this file name, um, then Hugo knows that when you go to the about URL, you need the content for that page from this file that starts with an underscore. Um, and then if I added another file under about, like more details.html or something, and then I went to about slash more details, I would get the leaf page, more details.md, and it would be the content for that, and that would be a single page, like a so imagine this is blog, this is your blog list page and all the content that kind of talks about all of your blog posts, and then under that would be a bunch of files that would be each leaf um, in that branch or in that section of this uh, section of the site. Um, index kind of works because that's a special file. So index.html is the landing page of the root URL. All of these then become sections of the website and need an underscore file to be the page for that location. If you move these all out, if you just did about.md, contact.md or HTML, resume.md, HTML out here with index, then those would all just be single pages, and you could get to slash about slash contact slash resume. Those would be leaves of the base of this site, and it would work. They would be kind of in the root of the website. But if you want to nest these into folders like this and call these things index, then just start with an underscore. And then just keep in mind that that's going to be using your, under layouts, it's going to be using your list because these are section list pages. It's going to be using this template. Um, and as I'm looking through this, it looks like what you're trying to do is for each page, put like all the HTML for the page into this context section. And that's really not how what Hugo's good for. What you can do is you could actually decompose this a little bit, and really the only thing that you should have here is just the content for it. You don't need the footer because the footer repeats on every page. You wouldn't want to have to update that everywhere. You wouldn't want the heading. This stuff you would want to define in a template that you would then call into um, into the partials, and usually it's based on the content type. So your content of your resume might have a very different content structure, a very different data type than your homepage or an about page or blog posts or whatever else kind of content that you have on your website. So you can have different layouts for different content types, and then for each layout you can call in partials that represent parts of that. And I see that you've already kind of started to do some of this, like you have this head section, you have a banner, you have social links, and then in your base of, you're calling in your banner, you're calling in your social links and stuff like that. So you've already got the footer here. You don't really need a footer also in your content. So what typically these are markdown files. So all you would do in here is just the markdown part of it, and then um, you would go forward and it kind of be your like main body. Now, if you have these really complicated things like a contact form or something, again, this is not. You would probably want to use a shortcode for this. So shortcodes are another kind of partial. Partials are meant to be used in layouts, and shortcodes are meant to be used in content. So you could make a form like a shortcode form for this, and then all you would do in here is just call that form into the content where you wanted that to show up. And that you don't have one of those yet, but it would just be a new folder under layouts called shortcodes. And then you would make like a, I don't know, contact form.html under there and just put this text in there. In fact, here, we'll just do it so you can see. So we'll do layouts, new folder, shortcodes. And then under here, we'll make a new file called contact form HTML, put that in there, right? So now I have that, I'll save this. And now if I come back into here and I want that contact form, I believe this should, what page was this on? This was on our contact page. And 1 second here, contact. Let's just go to it. Okay, so here's that contact form being rendered into the page where this contact form shortcode is. And then, and you can pass parameters into these shortcodes as well, like maybe some stuff like from the head of this thing, you could use down in here. So a lot of this front matter, you can almost think of these as like data fields or content data objects relative to this specific piece of content. And so you wouldn't like put the description down in here, for example. You would put the description into the layout that renders this kind of content, which in this case is like a single page for your contact. You can also do stuff in here, like, so I could say contact true, right? And then what I could have is in my layout, instead of using a shortcode like this, I could, well, there's some different things you can do. So I can pass in, that already has page context. You could pass in, variables into the shortcode based on, front matter data it could use, or just true, false, or something in here. You could also get rid of this altogether, make a layout that included a contact form that only shows the contact form in a single page layout if contact is true in the front matter. So you can put in some logic into your layouts and then use the data per page to drive your design or your layout down in your partials. So there's a few different ways to approach this. You would usually try to get your HTML and everything out of your content. You really just want to get it down to, what specifically do you want to say on this page for quote content, and then that's what's going to show up. Everything under here is what's going to show up in that .content variable. So wherever you have this is everything below front matter on a page. And then use your front matter to drive design choices, tags, layout, category stuff, whatever you need to do for that. So hopefully this is helpful. If you have questions, let me know. I'm kind of rambling here, so I'll stop now, and hope you have a good day.